Hey there, gorgeous souls. Welcome back for today's message. I'm super excited and pumped to share this one with you guys. And today, as you are tuning in, whether you are joining me live or you are catching the recording of today's particular message, I would absolutely love it if you do drop some comments. Let me know where in the world you are tuning in from. I definitely want to hear from you guys. And I want you to co-create this space with me. All right. So what that means is I really want to hear from you guys. So I'd love to hear your perspectives. I'd love to hear your questions. I'd love to hear your experiences, your words of wisdom, anything that you feel could contribute to all of our learning and expansion today. I'd love to hear from you guys. And today's one is going to be a really interesting one that basically came from a place of who is my current mirror, right? Like who is the person or what is the circumstance or the person or whatever it is that's currently, there's something kind of going on there, right? Like I noticed myself kind of getting maybe a little bit like triggered in some sort of way, and I was like, oh, thank you for the stars. I love it, Judy. I appreciate you. That's so exciting. So you guys who want to contribute and make sure that Facebook actually sees and recognizes each and every one of these messages as something that you guys actually value and you want to see more of, if you want to co-create this space and contribute through stars, that is a new feature. At least it's new to me. I had no idea it even existed. So if you would like to contribute, as my favorite Judy has, I would so appreciate you doing that. So you can click on the stars feature, I guess. And also I think Facebook let me know that they were going to be giving away some free stars to people. So if you're tuning in, I think they might give you some free stars, and I'd be forever grateful for your support. All right, so today's actual message is going to really help you guys in relationship to others. And like I just mentioned, this kind of came about, today's particular message, because there was a certain person in my life who there was something a bit off about what was going on. And basically what happened was, after I'd connected with this person, I basically did some work on myself, because I was like, what is this energy? Like there's something that just doesn't feel right. I feel a bit triggered here, and I want to be somebody who is totally empowered in my life and unaffected no matter how anybody else operates, right? That's part of my vision and part of my goal as in terms of the type of person that I want to be, because I want to be somebody who can show up and support others. And data, yay. Oh, I love it, guys. Thank you so much for the stars. Sorry, I'm going to get a bit excited if you do that, because it's all very new to me and I so appreciate the support. Oh, I love it. Two of my biggest supporters in the house. So thank you so much. And basically, I took the time to go within and go, what am I seeing? What's not adding up in this particular dynamic, right? Because I don't like how it feels. And it wasn't really the first time that I'd felt a bit off about the dynamic. And so I just kind of got to this point where I was like, no, enough is enough. Like, let me sort this out. I can't just sweep it under the rug. I want to feel really good about connecting with anybody that I choose to connect with in my life. And so basically what happened was I did some internal work, and the first thing that came up when I was a little bit more triggered, so I couldn't really get to the bottom of it, was I just felt misunderstood, basically. Like that's what was kind of coming up. And because I felt misunderstood, it was blocking me from experiencing my number one value, which is intimate depth of connection and love, right? Because the whole intimate depth, if you really think about that, into me I see. You're allowing other people to see into the depths of who you are. So you can get basically to this depth of understanding of one another. And because with this particular dynamic and some things that had occurred, I just felt like there was this huge block, right? This huge block in terms of the understanding going on. I felt like I was having a conversation with somebody who hadn't actually heard me, right? And then instead of getting victimy about that, I had to also look at, well, how am I communicating that is not allowing me to be understood, right? And so some of those dynamics were coming into play. And I also love, in order to lose, that sort of triggered experience, it's really powerful to find yourself in the behavior that is triggering you from another person, all right? Because that allows you to get to a place of understanding and compassion. And basically, for me, that's highly valuable, because my number one value above all else is intimate depth of connection and love. And you can't have intimate depth of connection and love with a lack of understanding. All right. And so that brings me to this particular message that I really want to deliver with you guys today. And I really, really hope that today's message is super valuable to you. It gets you thinking about your relationships with others, and in particular, how you decide to help others or try to help others, and how other people are maybe trying to help you, but what's happening is it's running into this kind of resentment, right? Because either they're not heeding your advice or you're not heeding theirs, and people get there's a lot of tension and misunderstanding going on. So I have titled today's message, Egoic Attachment versus Empathic Allowance. And basically asking you the question, where is your help coming from? Okay, so let's start by breaking down, the definition of an ego and the definition of empathic. All right, so when we look at what an ego is a person's sense of self-esteem or self-importance, okay? And empathic is pointing towards the ability that we can have to show, to understand, and share in the experience or the feelings of another person, okay? So when we look at egoic attachment, I want you to have the frame of, what do you do when you really want to help someone? Okay, and we can have this really great intention of really wanting to help someone, or voice a strong experiential opinion, right? That we feel could serve this person if they just listened to us and just heard what we had to say about it, right? And I want to kind of make this a bit of a wake-up call for all of you guys who are well-intentioned. I've definitely been here, and I still have to pick myself up on this as well. But basically, when we are projecting our way of being, our strong opinions, our one-sided perspective on a situation at another person who is seeming to be disempowered, or they are confused, or they just don't know what to do in their lives, we oftentimes come in to that equation and try and balance out their lack of belief or lack of clarity with a strong certainty, okay? And behind it all, like unquestioned, we think we have this really great intention of helping this person because I know that my solution could solve their problem, right? And this is where we get into egoic attachment that doesn't serve anyone. So if we look at that definition of the ego, it's self-importance, right? And if we look at the definition of empathic allowance, right? So we've got ego attachment, which is, hey, I'm self-important and you should do it my way. And I'm trying to help you wake up, right? And if they don't take your advice, we get resentful and we feel like, oh, I'm not going to waste my time with that person anymore because I spend all this time and energy trying to help them and they don't even hear me, or they do the opposite or whatever, right? And then on the other side, we've got empathic allowance. Now, this is what I want us to wake up to, because we miss the boat when we try and serve people, when we get trapped in our egoic attachment, right? Our sense of importance and sense of self is attached to you following through on what I think you should do, right? And it might be very true information for me, it might have worked for me, right? But this is a self-important attachment to what you need to do with your life, right? And on the other side, empathic allowance is basically the opposite. Now, this is how you truly help people. I have a really strong core belief that you have the right answers within you as an individual as to what is best for you. Now, when we go through more experience than other people in our lives, we tend to forget this, right? And we tend to think, oh, I've walked many more years of life than you. I've had more experience than you. And so I know better than you, right? And there might be some elements of truth with that, right? But we need to take a different stance that empathic allowance allows for. And basically what that is I'm making you the important one, right? To you and your life decisions, you are the important one. I'm not going to get trapped in my own self-importance and attached to you operating in the ways that I think are best, right? Based on my own authentic experience. I actually value you building that strength in your muscle to trust your intuition, to tap into and build that connection point, to know what is right for you and make your best decisions. And so therefore, I'm not going to attach myself, right, to you following through on what I think from a self-important kind of place. And instead, I am going to see a bigger picture here that doesn't involve me. And what I can do based on my own valuable experience is I can share what has worked for me. I can share my personal experience, but not from a place of I need you to do what I think you should do, right? And I'm going to be pissed off at you if you don't do it, right? Because I'm attached to that outcome because it's coming from that ego attachment. Instead, it's like, no, you are your own unique individual, and I can't know what is best for you better than you know, right? And maybe even if that person is in a very self-doubting, lacking self-trust kind of position, you might think, oh God, like they're going to make some mistakes here, right? Like I need to save them from this, right? But at the end of the day, you have to remember that particularly when people are self-doubting, right, and they're in that position of lacking self-trust, you coming in and projecting your opinion and your experience onto them, do you really think that that is going to challenge them and serve them to actually develop their own sense of trust, right? Absolutely not, right? Because what you're actually doing is reinforcing to them, oh yeah, you can't be trusted. Let me take over this decision for you, all right? Because I know better than you. And that person is already in a belief system like that. So they're going to want you to tell them what to do some of the time as well, right? But all that does is perpetuate the cycle of them lacking and defeating themselves in terms of lacking self-trust and lacking, having a lot of self-doubt, right? And you reinforcing, yeah, you shouldn't trust yourself. Yeah, you should doubt yourself. And here's how you should believe in me and my certainty, right? But there's an egoic attachment because you're robbing that person of the opportunity to build the muscle of trusting their own intuition. And that might start in a place where they do have to make some mistakes and learn through their own experiences. But the greatest gift that you can give to somebody who is self-doubting and lacking self-trust is an acknowledgement that they always have the answers within them, right? And you can give them options and let them know, hey, this is just from my personal experience. Here's some options. Here is what's worked for me. But you have to filter that through your own intuition. What does that feel like to you? Maybe give them a series of different options and allow them the opportunity to build that muscle of trusting their own intuition, because we've all got access to that, right? And what creates the lack of fulfillment, the self-deprecating behaviors, unable to actualize our potential, what perpetuates that cycle is when we just look to others, give me the answers, right? And we oftentimes, the more lacking of trust we are within ourselves, or the more self-doubting we are, we tend to attract much more self-important people who are absolutely going to give you their opinion and they're going to tell you what to do, and you think you want that, right? But at the end of the day, it just keeps that cycle going. And both sides of the equation are lacking an ability to get beyond themselves, right? Because obviously the egoic attached person who is just wanting to tell you what to do and needing you to follow through on that, or they're going to be annoyed at you, right? That person is trapped in their own self-importance, And so too is the very self-doubting person, right? They're making themselves so important that they're the center of the universe and they can't do anything right. So both sides are coming from basically, a disempowered state of being. And what we need to do, if we want to be the leaders of our own lives and we really want to have a positive impact on those around us, then we need to recognize that nobody can know you better than you know you. But you might be a little bit out of experience. So, you have to be willing to make some mistakes along the journey of developing the muscle to trust in your own intuition. And if you really want to have loving relationships between yourself and another person, you have to get beyond yourself and your own experience of the world and your own ego and your own opinions and projections. And you actually have to support another person because you care about them accessing the truths that only they can know through developing that muscle with their intuition by, giving them some options and putting the question mark back on them to make their own decisions based on what feels right, no matter how much you want to sit in there and take control. And if you couldn't tell, I'm pretty passionate about this subject at the moment, right? Because there's so much growth for me personally in this conversation, right? And majority of my life was on the side of self-doubt, lacking self-trust. Hey, somebody tell me what to do, or hey, believe in me, or give me something that I'm missing, right? And I can't trust my own decisions, right? So much of my life was on that side, and that comes up at different times, right? But I actually got a wake-up call almost quite recently as well, where I found myself on the other side of the equation. And basically what had happened was I was venting to this person about my very strong opinion about what was right and what was wrong and what they weren't doing and what they should be looking at, right? And I noticed this come out. And basically I was venting and releasing all my experience with this person. But then this person actually took action on everything that I said without really, running it through what they felt to be right, or me even questioning what they felt to be right. And I had to take a moment because I was like, whoa, this is not what I want. This person in my life is constantly, from all walks of life, being told what to do. And they're following through on whatever is going to, mitigate chaos and conflict and create harmony. Hey, just tell me what to do. I'll just do that and I'll just placate to you. And basically it was just keeping this person trapped in a perpetual cycle of lacking self-trust, doubting themselves, always seeking to the external to tell me what to do, and they weren't empowering themselves in their own life. And when I realized that after actions were taken that I didn't actually intend, I was just kind of, voicing my opinions and getting kind of passionate like I do about things. When they took that action, I had to take a step back and go, no. I know all too well what it is to be told what to do by everybody around you and just feel more and more defeated and more self-doubting and lacking of trust and just trying to make this person happy and this person happy, and you can't make everybody happy, and it's just a self-defeating prophecy, right? I know what that is. And if I really care about this person, and it's not just about my ego in this situation and about what I think on my moral or value-driven high horse, right? If it's not about that, and what it is actually about is this person that I care about actually developing a really strong sense of their own intuition, what is healthiest for them, and being really good at making decisions based on, what is the most self-loving thing that I could do in this circumstance, or what is the most emotionally intelligent thing that I could do to contribute to this circumstance, then I need to be somebody who, hey, I can give them the gift of asking them the question and have no attachment, right? Shifting out of egoic attachment, right? And my self-important projection versus shifting over into that empathic allowance and non-attachment, right? At the end of the day, that takes a lot of strength for a lot of people because we identify so strongly with our egos, that it almost comes down to survival to have other people follow through on what we think they should do, right? Because it's actually all about us. And if you dismiss what we just shared with you, you're practically dismissing us. And if we're dismissed as who we are, we're ostracized. And then it comes down to, our history and biology of feeling like we're going to die, basically, right? But instead, we need to be able to serve our own selves, to have a recognition that no matter what we do or don't do, we are a valuable human being, in the words of one of my favorite mentors, Dr. John Demartini. All right, to be able to focus on taking responsibility for our own lives and our own fulfillment without attachment to anybody else having to do or not do anything else in the world for us to feel okay. And that allows us this ability or this room and this space to actually have empathy for other people and know what we're really striving for, which is not for you to follow through on what I think you should do, right? But basically it is for you to have another opportunity, and maybe I could give you some options and some different perspectives that you can push it up against and see what feels right to you. But I'm no way am I attached to you taking that direction. But instead, I know that this is an opportunity for you to build the muscle connected to your own intuition, because you have the answers within you always, and it's just about developing the pathway and building that muscle so you have connection to those answers as you most require them. All right, so that is my message for you guys today. Got a bit passionate, as I usually do, but I hope this one serves you, and it just gets you thinking about are you helping people in their language, or are you projecting your own language onto them, right? It's basically like going to a foreign country and expecting everybody to speak your language when it's not the native tongue, right? Instead, you're coming into their environment. So you have to adjust to their environment, and their language comes from within themselves. So all you can do is attempt to speak their language with a lack of attachment and a total allowance, and give them that opportunity and that gift to actually establish that strength within themselves, rather than just, project your language onto them and expect them to operate that way when they're totally different to you, right? The moment we can stop projecting our own personal experiences onto everybody else is the moment that we wake up to how beautiful our diversity is, right? That we don't want everybody to be the same as us, even though our ego would have us definitely want that, right? So notice when you get attached in your ego to people following your advice versus when you can actually create those experiences of empathic allowance, right? And that is such a fulfilling gift to have, when you know that if you really want to help, to bring people back to their core, to their strength within themselves, their power, their internal wisdom, right? Instead of just projecting your own and feeling a height of, self-importance because, they followed through on what I said, but you've actually robbed them of an opportunity to build their own muscle of their intuition, which leads to believing in themselves and trusting themselves so that they can go about actualizing their highest potential in the world, all right? That is it. All right, I could go on another tangent, you guys know. So I definitely want to check in with you guys. So please do drop me a comment. Let me know where in the world you're tuning in from. And I'd love to hear any questions, words of wisdom. And if you do find this message of value, please do share it. That is such a gift. And also take part in the stars if you feel called to. That's just a really great way to contribute to these messages and make sure Facebook knows you want to see them. So that I can expand this reach and we can build our community and co-create an amazing space together. And I want to say an extra special thank you to Judy and Data for contributing stars today. Thank you for being such great supporters. I so appreciate you. All right, and Leo's here as well, and Sherry Ann, hello to you, and Beck, and Data, you're feeling the passion. I'm loving it. I love it, and Brian's here, and Scott as well, and Jerry. Hi, Vanessa, late to watch the live, we'll watch the replay. Awesome, always great to see you, Jerry. Thank you so much for being here. Hope today's message is of value to you. And Data, a very caring and considerate perspective. It's easy to get caught up in wanting to be listened to versus making sure others can listen to themselves. It's a gift when we can help someone else listen to themselves so they can trust themselves more and more. Absolutely. And I love that. And you know, we need both, right? Like, so I'm not saying we should all just shut up and not share like all of our valuable experiences and our wisdom and all of that. I actually invite more and more and more and more of that. Like, I want to learn from you. I want to learn from your experience. I just don't want you to get your ego attached to whether I follow through on what was worked for you or not, right? I want to have the kind of relationships where we have an understanding and we're not projecting onto other people. We're actually really valuing them being their best self, them coming up with their strongest connection to what is right for them, even if it differs from what we would choose, right? So I absolutely love that perspective. Data, thank you so much for being here and contributing. And oh, okay. I'm loving that you're loving it. Loving that. Loving it. Yep. All right. I said that a few too many times. All right. And Bill is in the house as well. Hello to you, my friend. I hope you guys who are just tuning in now do catch the recording, get a ton of value from today's message. And please do share it, as I said, and contribute stars if you feel called to. Just those are a couple of great ways that you could support these upcoming messages getting out to more and more amazing individuals just like yourselves. All right, so that is it. My reminder each and every day, as you're probably getting sick of, but it's still so important, is to go out there and honor your authenticity, deepen your intimacy, and definitely contribute your gifts meaningfully and purposefully. And make sure that, you know, we all want to help, right? That is a human need, that feeling of contribution. We want to make a positive impact in other people's lives, but just check yourself before you wreck yourself, right? Where is that coming from? And if you find yourself being somebody who gets really annoyed when people don't follow through on what you said, or you think people are crazy for like doing the things that they do it their way or whatever, just check yourself, right? And go, is my ego attached to this so-called help, right? Is it all about me and my self-importance? And am I potentially robbing them of an opportunity to build that muscle of self-trust and self-belief? And if I really care about somebody, obviously I don't want to do that, right? So how can I make the shift from that egoic attachment to empathic allowance, right? Being connected to somebody else and making them and their decisions important, knowing they have the answers within them. What can I do to really serve this person by giving them something maybe to push off on with some options, or just questioning for them, and allowing them the space to make a decision even if it goes against what we would choose for ourselves, all right? And allow people to make mistakes, because it's the only pathway they're going to have a hope to really establish a strength in their own intuition, right? Just trust and believe that they'll always figure it out, whether they fall down or they don't, right? And so that's the gift that you have the opportunity to give. And also look at the people in your lives who you can see they're being kind of egoically attached to all their opinions that they throw at you. And maybe you could be having a conversation or just share this message with them. Might be a little bit of more of a softener. I can be the third entity in the relationship dynamic. So it's not all on you, but yeah, and you could share maybe how they could shift into empathic allowance and remember to reward people. It's so powerful to know what your needs are, know what works for you and what doesn't work for you, and lovingly and compassionately find yourself in that same behavior so you can get to that place and communicate with them and reward them for what actually serves them. And just take it down to that. They really want to help you. They're just stuck in egoic attachment and they don't even know it, and they don't know the ramifications of what they're actually engaged in. So give them another opportunity, give them another pathway, and let them make the choice. All right, that's it from me today, guys. Thanks again for showing up and joining me. And for those of you who are watching the recording, still drop me some comments. Let me know your thoughts. I can't wait to hear from you and connect more with you. And thank you massively to everybody who could show up and join me live today. You are so so appreciated. And thank you so much for my star contributors as well. All right, much love, guys. I'll see you soon.